All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to do something really cool. Build a complete working web application from scratch. And we're going to do it in just a few minutes using an awesome framework called PHPWeave. So let's see how it's done. You know the feeling, right? If you're a developer, you've been there. You have a simple idea, but before you can even write a line of code, you're drowning in config files, wrestling with dependencies, and facing this massive learning curve. It's a lot. But what if it didn't have to be that way? And this is where PHPWeave steps in. This quote really nails it. It started from this idea of just keeping things simple. But it grew up, you know? It evolved to include powerful, modern features you actually need. The whole point is to let you focus on what you want to build, not fighting with the framework itself. Okay, so to really see this thing in action, we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to build something. We'll make a classic guest book where people can leave comments and see what everyone else has written. It's the perfect little project to get our feet wet. And listen, by the time we're done here, you're not just going to walk away with a working app. You're going to get how it works. You'll understand the core pieces of the puzzle, what models, views, and controllers are, how they talk to each other, and how routes tie everything together. So first things first, let's pop the hood and look at the engine. That's the Model View Controller Pattern, or MVC. It might sound complicated, but it's really just a smart way of organizing your code into three distinct, logical parts. It's the blueprint for the whole app. And here's the best way to think about it. Imagine your web app is a restaurant. The controller, that's the maitre d'. They greet the customer, take their order, and tell the kitchen what to do. The model is the chef in the back, right? They're the one actually working with the ingredients, the data. And the view? Well, that's the final, beautifully plated dish that gets delivered to the table for the user to enjoy. So let's start in the kitchen with the chef, the model. Its one and only job is to deal with the database. Getting data, saving data, updating it, that's it. And by keeping all that database logic tucked away here, your code stays super clean, organized, and way more secure. Here's a perfect example. See, the model acts like a security guard for your database. Instead of just letting any raw data in, it uses something called a prepared statement. Think of it like a template. This makes it practically impossible for someone to sneak in malicious commands and wreck your database, an attack we call SQL injection. Okay, now let's go out to the front of the house and meet our maitre d', the controller. You can also think of it as the traffic cop of the application. When a user clicks a button or submits a form, that request goes straight to the controller. It's the one that decides what happens next. And you can see that flow right here. A user hits submit, the controller grabs that data, maybe checks to make sure it's valid, then tells the model, hey, save this. And then, and this is super important, it redirects the user to a different page. This little trick prevents that annoying thing where you hit refresh and accidentally submit the same form twice. And that brings us to the final piece, the view. This is the part the user actually sees. It's the HTML, the form, the list of guestbook entries. Its job is simple. Take the data the controller gives it and make it look good. That's it. It doesn't do any thinking. It just presents. But the view also has a critical security job. Before it displays any text that a user submitted, it cleans it. This function, HTML_CS, basically diffuses any potentially harmful code someone might have tried to sneak into a comment. This stops what's called cross-site scripting, protecting your other users. Okay, so we have our three main parts, the model, the view, and the controller. But how does a URL like /guestbook know to talk to the guestbook controller? Well, that's where routes come in. They are literally the GPS for your application. And look how clean this is. This is just a simple map. It says, hey, if someone visits the /guestbook page, run the index function inside the guestbook controller. And if someone posts a form to /guestbook/submit, run the submit function instead. It's direct, it's clear, no magic. So let's put it all together and follow one single request from start to finish. You fill out the form and hit submit. The router sees /guestbook/submit and points it to the submit method. The controller validates your data and tells the model to save it. The model does its job. The controller then redirects you back to the main /guestbook page, which then renders the view with your new comment on the list. See, it's a perfect logical flow. And just like that, we're done. With just a few simple files and some very straightforward code, we've built a real working web application. That right there is the beauty of PHPWeave. It just gets out of your way and lets you build. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's cool for a simple guestbook, but what about a real app? Well, don't let the simplicity fool you. PHPWeave is absolutely ready for the heavy lifting. I mean, this is not a toy. Need to send emails or process videos in the background without making the user wait? There are async tasks built right in. Want to plug in your own code without hacking the core? There's an event system for that. It even has things like database migrations and support for multiple databases. The power is there, waiting for when your project grows. So, as we wrap this up, let's just take a step back and talk about the why. What's the philosophy here, and why might you want to reach for PHPWeave for your next big idea? It really comes down to this. PHPWeave respects you as a developer. It's simple, so you can get started fast. It's flexible, so it grows with you. And maybe most importantly, there's no magic. You can actually see how everything works, which makes it an amazing tool for really learning the MVC pattern. You are always in control. So, there we have it. We went from zero to a fully functional, secure web app in just a few minutes. We've seen the core concepts and the simple, powerful philosophy behind it all. Now, the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?